What's up, everybody? Christian James here. Today's video: groceries are unaffordable and Canadians are starving. Let's go. Yesterday in the House of Commons, Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party, the leader of the opposition, the next Prime Minister of Canada, as long as all you twitzicles and twatsicles out there don't fuck this up again, suburban moms, we're talking to you. Nonetheless, I'm kidding, not really. Let's get to it because it's sad as fuck and it's truth. Ever since Trudeau put in the carbon tax, around the time of COVID, groceries for some people become largely unaffordable. I make a good living. My spouse makes a good living. Together we make a good living. 5 years ago, though, we made a great living. Now with all the new taxation and all the inflation, what we make isn't as substantial or as impressive as it should be with a decent leader and a decent economy. Nonetheless, I'm going to shut the fuck up. It's not about me. It's about Ugly Potato Day. Let's take a look.
This weekend in Cloverdale, 15,000 people lined up in the pouring rain for the hopes that they might get a few rejected potatoes. It was Ugly Potato Day in that city. And 15,000 British Columbians are too hungry and desperate that they needed to go and collect those rejected foodstuffs. 2 million Canadians are lined up at food banks. There are 1,400 homeless encampments in Ontario today. And what is the Prime Minister doing? Working to save his political skin from his revolting caucus. This can't go on. Will he call a carbon tax election now?
Mr. Speaker, I would really hope that every single MP in this House would agree that in our great country, no one should ever go hungry. But when Conservatives talk about the most vulnerable, they are crying crocodile tears. And how do I know that, Mr. Speaker? I know that because they have had the gall to vote against a national school food program, a program that will feed 400,000 Canadian kids. How can they look themselves in the face when they oppose feeding Canadian kids?
Okay, lady who's trying too hard to squeeze into a suit that hasn't fit in 5 years is making it look like it's about to explode and take all the expression off her weird face and put on a weird torso. Nonetheless, we wouldn't need government lunches if you guys weren't so bad at your job. I grew up poor in this country. We already had subsidies at school for people who were underprivileged or poor, as used to say back in the day. There's already programs at certain schools. There's lunch tickets. Look, bottom line is food used to be affordable for most Canadians. They wouldn't need a lunch program if you eliminated things like the carbon tax that got inflation under control. But you have no idea what you're doing, and you're trying to help with a problem that you created, and if you eliminate the thing that created the initial problem, nobody needs your help. Look, nobody wants your processed lunches given to the children. Remove the taxes, get inflation under control, get housing under control so people in my city are not... I think it came out the other day, I live in Hamilton, Ontario, you have to make you have to make like 70 grand a year to afford a one-bedroom apartment where I live. Get shit under control.
That program, though it has costed millions, has not fed a single hungry child. It has fed bureaucracy, which is all it ever was intended to do. Meanwhile, 2 million people are lined up at food banks. We've got 15,000 people that will line up for a, quote, ugly potato because they can't afford to eat. We have diseases like scurvy that are back. And 1 in 4 kids go to school hungry after 9 years of this Prime Minister, yet his priority is saving his political career from his revolting caucus. This cannot go on. Will he call a carbon tax election?
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives are damning themselves with their own words. I was at a school in downtown Winnipeg on Friday. I was there with Premier Wab Kinew, and we gave those beautiful, wonderful children some bannock, a little carton of milk, some jam, some butter, and a banana. That was not bureaucracy that fed those kids. That was the deal we've done with Manitoba. The Conservatives are just feeding kids.
Are you kidding me? She says that the Canadians should be happy that while 1 in 4 kids go to school hungry, while 2 million people line up at food banks, while scurvy is making a comeback after 9 years of this government, Canadians should be grateful that she showed up with a few snacks and a photo op at one school. Mr. Speaker, this is the same finance minister who has just blown back $7 billion past her deficit target, meaning more inflation and higher rates. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister hides in the fetal position under his desk. Will he call a carbon tax election now?
Mr. Speaker, we have clearly knocked the Leader of the Opposition off his game this week. Because how can he have the temerity to talk about actual meals fed to actual children as bureaucracy? That tells you how cynical and how low these Canadians go. And then he talks about inflation. Mr. Speaker, it's been in the Bank of Canada's target range for 9 months in a row. It fell below 2% in September, and rates have come down 3 times. That's what's happening with inflation.
All right, ugly potato. You are right. The numbers came down because you jacked them up. They're now just over 2%, but they were over 5%. So good job at bringing them down to still unreasonable targets, but way to be very happy that it's not terrible, it's just bad, okay? You don't need to feed our kids. Most of us don't need or want your help when it comes to feeding our kids. What we don't want you to do is tax us into oblivion to save the environment, but you can't save the environment by taxing me into oblivion. I don't even drive. I walk everywhere, and yet somehow I'm hit with a carbon tax. I don't have a carbon footprint. I don't drive. I've been on airplanes twice, so 4 times, there and back, there and back. I take public transportation, which in this city has natural gas. How in the hell am I stuck paying a tax for the environment that I don't affect? It's not anything to do with the environment. It's to do with just taking people's money under the disguise of care. They don't give a shit. Also, your lunch for those children was butter, jam, milk, and a banana. The fuck are you supposed to put the butter and the jam on if you didn't even give them any bread? So you gave them processed peanut butter with palm oil and canola oil and sugar and dextrose. Okay, and then you gave them butter. Hopefully it was butter and not margarine, but you know, you got to take care of those vegans, so we're probably going to say it was vegan butter. I gave them a banana, and then you gave them milk. Okay, that's what their parents would have given them, along with a sandwich with some meat, likely, a fruit roll-up, or some type of snack. But you fuckfaces interfered and thought it was a good idea to go to one school in Manitoba and give them minimal snacks, and then tout yourself as if you did something for the children of the country. But again, like he said, it was a photo op. Bottom line is you guys are terrible at your job. Justin can't even show up to defend himself anymore. Your caucus is revolting. The country doesn't want you. Nobody wants you. Nobody likes you. The girl don't like you. I don't like you. Canada doesn't like you. Ain't nobody like you. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me if you think school lunches on behalf of the government are good. Tell me if you think they're bad. Tell me something at all. Make sure you goddamn well subscribe. Write something in the comment section. I'm out. Peace.